Welcome back to Drowsy Tales Daily. Tonight, the people you trusted with your child's future became academic predators. Tutoring companies that stole $2.3 million in education funds. Test prep coaches who sold fake SAT scores. And learning centers that turned desperate parents into victims of educational fraud. These are the tutoring frauds that will make you question every report card. Our first story takes us to Scottsdale, where test preparation specialist Rutherford had been helping high school students improve SAT and ACT scores throughout the valley for 6 years. He was praised by parents for his test strategy expertise and ability to help students achieve score improvements that enhanced college admission prospects. Rutherford seemed genuinely committed to student success and helping families navigate competitive college admissions. Rutherford helped our daughter improve her SAT score by 300 points and get into her dream college, shared grateful parent Magnolia during a test prep evaluation. His expertise in test strategy provided essential guidance that transformed our daughter's academic future. But students started receiving lower test scores despite extensive preparation, with Rutherford claiming test difficulty increases and scoring changes that required additional preparation fees and intensive coaching sessions. Our son's test scores decreased despite months of expensive preparation with Rutherford, explained frustrated parent Beauregard to educational oversight authorities. He says test scoring changes require additional intensive coaching that costs extra money. Investigation revealed Rutherford had been deliberately providing incorrect test strategies while collecting preparation fees from families who trusted his expertise, then teaching methods that would actually lower test scores while claiming score difficulties required additional payments for intensive coaching. He'd been teaching incorrect test-taking strategies, providing practice materials with wrong answers, and sabotaging student preparation while collecting premium pricing for test preparation services designed to ensure score decreases. The scheme particularly harmed college-bound students who trusted professional test preparation but faced admission disappointment through deliberately harmful test coaching. When educational licensing authorities investigated his preparation practices, they found evidence Rutherford had sabotaged test preparation for over 100 students while collecting tutoring fees exceeding $800,000. Our second story brings us to Charlotte, where private tutoring company owner Isadora had been providing academic support and homework assistance for elementary and middle school students throughout the metropolitan area for 8 years. She was recommended by schools and praised by parents for her educational expertise and ability to help struggling students improve grades and academic confidence. Isadora seemed genuinely passionate about education and committed to helping children succeed academically while building learning skills. Isadora's tutoring helped our son improve his grades dramatically and develop confidence in learning, shared satisfied parent Persephone during a tutoring evaluation. Her educational expertise provided essential academic support that transformed our child's school performance. But students started experiencing academic decline and learning problems despite tutoring sessions, with Isadora claiming learning complexity and educational challenges that required additional tutoring fees and specialized instruction methods. Our daughter's grades got worse, and she's struggling more after months of tutoring with Isadora, explained concerned parent Maximilian to Educational Oversight Services. She says learning complications require specialized instruction methods that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Isadora had been deliberately confusing students during tutoring sessions while collecting instruction fees from families who trusted her educational expertise, then providing teaching that would worsen academic performance while claiming learning complexity required additional payments. She'd been teaching incorrect academic concepts, providing confusing homework assistance, and sabotaging student learning while collecting premium pricing for tutoring services designed to create academic decline. The scheme particularly harmed struggling students who trusted professional tutoring expertise but faced continued academic failure through deliberately harmful educational instruction. When educational licensing authorities investigated her tutoring practices, they found evidence Isadora had sabotaged academic instruction for over 200 students while collecting tutoring fees exceeding $1.2 million. Our third story takes us to Minneapolis, where college admissions consultant Maximilian had been helping high school students navigate university applications and scholarship opportunities throughout the upper Midwest for 7 years. He was recommended by guidance counselors and praised by families for his admissions expertise and ability to help students gain acceptance to competitive colleges. Maximilian seemed genuinely knowledgeable about college admissions and committed to helping students achieve higher education goals. Maximilian helped our daughter get accepted to 3 top universities with significant scholarship offers, shared delighted parent Octavia during an admissions consultation evaluation. His expertise in college applications provided essential guidance that opened incredible educational opportunities. But students started receiving college rejections and scholarship denials despite admissions consulting. With Maximilian claiming application competition increases and scholarship scarcity that required additional consulting fees and premium application services. Our son was rejected from all colleges despite Maximilian's expensive consulting services, explained devastated parent Benedict to college admissions oversight. He says application competition requires premium consulting services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Maximilian had been deliberately sabotaging college applications while collecting consulting fees from families who trusted his admissions expertise, then providing application guidance that would ensure rejections while claiming competition increases required additional payments. He'd been recommending inappropriate colleges, providing poor application essay guidance, and sabotaging scholarship applications while collecting premium pricing for admissions consulting services designed to ensure student rejections. The scheme particularly harmed college-bound students who trusted professional admissions expertise but faced educational disappointment through deliberately sabotaged college applications. When college admissions oversight authorities investigated his consulting practices, they found evidence Maximilian had sabotaged college applications for over 75 students while collecting consulting fees exceeding $900,000. Our 4th story brings us to Portland, where learning disability specialist Octavia had been providing educational assessments and special needs support for students throughout the Pacific Northwest for 5 years. She was licensed by educational psychology organizations and recommended by schools for her expertise in learning disabilities and ability to help students with special needs succeed academically. Octavia seemed genuinely committed to special education and helping children with learning challenges achieve academic success. Octavia's assessment identified our son's learning disability and provided strategies that helped him succeed in school, shared grateful parent Benedict during a special education evaluation. Her expertise in learning disabilities provided essential support that transformed our child's academic experience. But students started experiencing worsening academic problems despite special education services, with Octavia claiming disability complexity and educational challenges that required additional assessment fees and intensive intervention services. Our daughter's learning problems got worse despite Octavia's assessments and interventions, explained frustrated parent Cornelius to special education oversight authorities. She says disability complications require intensive intervention services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Octavia had been deliberately misdiagnosing learning disabilities while collecting assessment fees from families who trusted her expertise, then providing false disability classifications that would harm rather than help student learning. She'd been creating false learning disability diagnoses, providing inappropriate educational recommendations, and sabotaging special education services while collecting premium pricing for assessment services designed to worsen rather than improve student learning outcomes. The scheme particularly harmed students with genuine learning needs who trusted professional special education expertise but faced continued academic struggle through deliberately false disability assessments. When special education licensing authorities investigated her assessment practices, they found evidence Octavia had provided false learning disability diagnoses for over 60 students while collecting assessment fees exceeding $600,000. Our 5th story brings us to Houston, where Language Learning Center Director Benedict had been providing foreign language instruction and cultural education for students throughout Southeast Texas for 9 years. He was certified by language education organizations and praised by parents for his linguistic expertise and ability to help students develop foreign language skills. Benedict seemed genuinely passionate about language education and committed to helping students achieve linguistic competency. Benedict's language program helped our daughter become fluent in Spanish and develop cultural awareness, shared impressed parent Cornelius during a language education evaluation. His expertise in linguistic instruction provided comprehensive language learning that opened international opportunities. But students started losing language skills and cultural knowledge despite instruction, with Benedict claiming linguistic complexity and cultural challenges that required additional instruction fees and intensive immersion services. Our son lost language skills and cultural knowledge after studying with Benedict for 2 years, explained disappointed parent Sterling to Language Education Oversight. He says linguistic complications require intensive immersion services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Benedict had been deliberately providing incorrect language instruction while collecting education fees from families who trusted his linguistic expertise, then teaching wrong grammar and cultural misinformation. He'd been teaching incorrect language grammar, providing false cultural information, and sabotaging language learning while collecting premium pricing for foreign language education services designed to prevent linguistic development. The scheme particularly harmed students seeking language skills who trusted professional linguistic education but faced cultural misunderstanding through deliberately incorrect language instruction. When language education licensing authorities investigated his instruction practices, they found evidence Benedict had provided incorrect language education for over 150 students while collecting instruction fees exceeding $700,000. Our sixth story brings us to Denver, where standardized test coaching company owner Cornelius had been preparing students for state assessments and achievement tests throughout the Rocky Mountain region for 6 years. He was recommended by schools and praised by families for his test preparation expertise and ability to help students achieve proficiency levels. Cornelius seemed genuinely committed to academic achievement and helping students succeed on standardized assessments. Cornelius's test coaching helped our daughter achieve proficient scores on state assessments, shared relieved parent Sterling during a test preparation evaluation. His expertise in standardized testing provided essential skills that ensured our child met educational standards. But students started failing standardized tests despite preparation coaching, with Cornelius claiming test difficulty increases and assessment changes that required additional coaching fees and intensive preparation services. Our son failed state assessments despite months of test coaching with Cornelius, explained panicked parent Fitzgerald to Educational Testing Oversight. He says assessment changes require intensive preparation services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Cornelius had been deliberately providing incorrect test preparation while collecting coaching fees from families who trusted his assessment expertise, then teaching strategies that would ensure test failure. He'd been teaching incorrect test-taking strategies, providing practice materials with wrong content, and sabotaging test preparation while collecting premium pricing for coaching services designed to ensure assessment failure. The scheme particularly harmed students facing graduation requirements who trusted professional test preparation but faced academic failure through deliberately harmful assessment coaching. When educational testing licensing authorities investigated his coaching practices, they found evidence Cornelius had sabotaged test preparation for over 120 students while collecting coaching fees exceeding $500,000. Our seventh story brings us to Tampa, where homeschool curriculum consultant Sterling had been providing educational materials and instruction guidance for home-educated students throughout Central Florida for 4 years. She was recommended by homeschool organizations and praised by parents for her curriculum expertise and ability to help families create effective home education programs. Sterling seemed genuinely knowledgeable about homeschool education and committed to helping families succeed in home-based learning. Sterling helped us create a comprehensive homeschool program that exceeded our academic expectations, shared successful parent Fitzgerald during a homeschool evaluation. Her expertise in curriculum development provided essential guidance that created effective learning experiences. But homeschooled students started experiencing academic gaps and learning deficiencies despite curriculum consulting, with Sterling claiming educational complexity and instructional challenges that required additional consulting fees and premium curriculum services. Our children developed significant academic gaps despite following Sterling's expensive curriculum recommendations, explained concerned parent Magnolia to homeschool oversight authorities. She says educational complications require premium curriculum services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Sterling had been deliberately recommending inadequate curricula while collecting consulting fees from families who trusted her educational expertise, then providing instructional guidance that would create learning gaps. She'd been recommending inappropriate educational materials, providing poor instructional guidance, and sabotaging home education while collecting premium pricing for curriculum consulting services designed to create academic deficiencies. The scheme particularly harmed homeschooled students who trusted professional curriculum expertise but faced educational disadvantage through deliberately inadequate home education guidance. When homeschool education licensing authorities investigated her consulting practices, they found evidence Sterling had provided inadequate curriculum guidance for over 80 families while collecting consulting fees exceeding $400,000. Our eighth story brings us to San Diego, where college prep academy owner Fitzgerald had been providing advanced placement and honors course instruction for high school students throughout Southern California for 8 years. He was recommended by high schools and praised by students for his academic expertise and ability to help students succeed in challenging coursework. Fitzgerald seemed genuinely committed to academic excellence and helping students achieve success in rigorous educational programs. Fitzgerald's academy helped our son excel in AP courses and earn college credit, shared proud parent Magnolia during an academic preparation evaluation. His expertise in advanced placement instruction provided challenging education that enhanced our child's academic achievement. But students started failing advanced courses and losing college opportunities despite academy instruction, with Fitzgerald claiming coursework difficulty and academic rigor that required additional instruction fees and intensive academic services. Our daughter failed multiple AP courses despite attending Fitzgerald's expensive academy, explained devastated parent Beauregard to Advanced Education Oversight. He says academic rigor requires intensive instruction services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Fitzgerald had been deliberately providing inadequate advanced instruction while collecting academy fees from families who trusted his academic expertise, then teaching content that would ensure course failure. He'd been teaching incorrect advanced placement content, providing inadequate college preparation, and sabotaging student academic performance while collecting premium pricing for academy services designed to ensure advanced course failure. The scheme particularly harmed academically ambitious students who trusted professional advanced education but faced college admission disappointment through deliberately inadequate academic preparation. When advanced education licensing authorities investigated his academy practices, they found evidence Fitzgerald had sabotaged advanced instruction for over 90 students while collecting academy fees exceeding $1.1 million. Our ninth story brings us to Atlanta, where educational therapy clinic director Magnolia had been providing learning intervention and academic remediation for students with educational challenges throughout the Southeast for 7 years. She was licensed by educational therapy organizations and recommended by schools for her intervention expertise and ability to help students overcome learning difficulties. Magnolia seemed genuinely committed to educational therapy and helping children with learning challenges achieve academic success. Magnolia's therapy helped our son overcome reading difficulties and achieve grade-level performance, shared grateful parent Beauregard during an educational therapy evaluation. Her expertise in learning intervention provided essential support that transformed our child's academic struggles. But students started experiencing worsening learning problems despite therapy services, with Magnolia claiming intervention complexity and therapeutic challenges that required additional therapy fees and intensive remediation services. Our daughter's learning problems became worse after months of therapy with Magnolia, explained frustrated parent Persephone to Educational Therapy Oversight. She says intervention complications require intensive remediation services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Magnolia had been deliberately worsening learning problems while collecting therapy fees from families who trusted her intervention expertise, then providing therapeutic techniques that would increase rather than reduce learning difficulties. She'd been using therapeutic techniques that would worsen learning problems, providing intervention that would increase academic difficulties, and sabotaging educational therapy while collecting premium pricing for intervention services designed to worsen student learning outcomes. The scheme particularly harmed students with genuine learning challenges who trusted professional educational therapy but faced continued academic struggle through deliberately harmful intervention. When educational therapy licensing authorities investigated her intervention practices, they found evidence Magnolia had worsened learning problems for over 70 students while collecting therapy fees exceeding $800,000. Our 10th story brings us to Phoenix, where Mathematics Tutoring Center owner Beauregard had been providing specialized math instruction and problem-solving support for students throughout the valley for 5 years. He was recommended by math teachers and praised by parents for his mathematical expertise and ability to help students develop computational skills. Beauregard seemed genuinely passionate about mathematics education and committed to helping students achieve mathematical competency. Beauregard's math tutoring helped our daughter overcome math anxiety and excel in advanced mathematics courses, shared impressed parent Persephone during a mathematics education evaluation. His expertise in mathematical instruction provided essential skills that transformed our child's mathematical understanding. But students started developing math anxiety and computational problems despite tutoring, with Beauregard claiming mathematical complexity and conceptual challenges that required additional tutoring fees and intensive instruction services. Our son developed severe math anxiety and lost computational skills after tutoring with Beauregard, explained worried parent Isadora to Mathematics Education Oversight. He says mathematical complications require intensive instruction services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Beauregard had been deliberately creating math anxiety while collecting tutoring fees from families who trusted his mathematical expertise, then providing instruction that would worsen rather than improve mathematical understanding. He'd been teaching incorrect mathematical concepts, creating computational confusion, and sabotaging mathematical learning while collecting premium pricing for math tutoring services designed to create mathematical anxiety. The scheme particularly harmed students seeking mathematical competency who trusted professional mathematics education but faced increased academic anxiety through deliberately harmful mathematical instruction. When mathematics education licensing authorities investigated his tutoring practices, they found evidence Beauregard had created mathematical anxiety for over 100 students while collecting tutoring fees exceeding $600,000. Our 11th story brings us to Seattle, where reading comprehension specialist Persephone had been providing literacy instruction and reading skill development for students throughout the Pacific Northwest for 9 years. She was certified by reading education organizations and recommended by literacy specialists for her expertise in reading instruction and ability to help students develop comprehension skills. Persephone seemed genuinely committed to literacy education and helping children achieve reading competency. Persephone's reading instruction helped our son overcome dyslexia and develop strong literacy skills, shared appreciative parent Isadora during a reading education evaluation. Her expertise in literacy instruction provided essential skills that enhanced our child's reading ability. But students started losing reading skills and comprehension abilities despite instruction, with Persephone claiming literacy complexity and reading challenges that required additional instruction fees and intensive literacy services. Our daughter lost reading skills and comprehension ability after months of instruction with Persephone, explained alarmed parent Maximilian to Literacy Education Oversight. She says reading complications require intensive literacy services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Persephone had been deliberately damaging reading skills while collecting instruction fees from families who trusted her literacy expertise, then providing teaching that would worsen rather than improve reading ability. She'd been teaching incorrect reading strategies, providing confusing comprehension instruction, and sabotaging literacy development while collecting premium pricing for reading instruction services designed to reduce reading skills. The scheme particularly harmed students seeking literacy competency who trusted professional reading education but faced communication disadvantage through deliberately harmful literacy instruction. When literacy education licensing authorities investigated her instruction practices, they found evidence Persephone had damaged reading skills for over 80 students while collecting instruction fees exceeding $500,000. Our 12th story brings us to Dallas, where Science Education Center Director Isadora had been providing STEM instruction and laboratory experiences for students throughout North Texas for 6 years. She was recommended by science teachers and praised by families for her scientific expertise and ability to help students develop scientific reasoning and laboratory skills. Isadora seemed genuinely passionate about science education and committed to helping students achieve scientific literacy. Isadora's Science Center helped our daughter develop laboratory skills and scientific reasoning, shared excited parent Maximilian during a science education evaluation. Her expertise in scientific instruction provided essential skills that transformed our child's understanding of science. But students started developing science anxiety and losing laboratory skills despite instruction, with Isadora claiming scientific complexity and experimental challenges that required additional instruction fees and intensive laboratory services. Our son developed science anxiety and lost laboratory skills after attending Isadora's center, explained concerned parent Octavia to Science Education Oversight. She says scientific complications require intensive laboratory services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Isadora had been deliberately creating science anxiety while collecting instruction fees from families who trusted her scientific expertise, then providing laboratory experiences that would discourage rather than encourage scientific interest. She'd been creating dangerous laboratory experiences, teaching incorrect scientific concepts, and sabotaging STEM education while collecting premium pricing for science instruction services designed to create science anxiety. The scheme particularly harmed students interested in STEM careers who trusted professional science education but faced academic discouragement through deliberately harmful scientific instruction. When science education licensing authorities investigated her instruction practices, they found evidence Isadora had created science anxiety for over 60 students while collecting instruction fees exceeding $400,000. Our 13th story brings us to Boston, where writing skills coach Maximilian had been providing composition instruction and communication development for students throughout New England for 8 years. He was certified by writing education organizations and recommended by English teachers for his expertise in writing instruction and ability to help students develop composition skills. Maximilian seemed genuinely committed to writing education and helping students achieve communication competency. Maximilian's writing coaching helped our son develop excellent composition skills, shared satisfied parent Octavia during a writing education evaluation. His expertise in composition instruction provided essential skills that transformed our child's writing ability. But students started losing writing skills and communication abilities despite coaching, with Maximilian claiming composition complexity and writing challenges that required additional coaching fees and intensive instruction services. Our daughter lost writing skills and communication ability after months of coaching with Maximilian, explained frustrated parent Benedict to Writing Education Oversight. He says composition complications require intensive instruction services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Maximilian had been deliberately damaging writing skills while collecting coaching fees from families who trusted his composition expertise, then providing instruction that would worsen rather than improve writing ability. He'd been teaching incorrect writing techniques, providing confusing composition instruction, and sabotaging communication development while collecting premium pricing for writing coaching services designed to reduce writing skills. The scheme particularly harmed students seeking communication competency who trusted professional writing education but faced expression disadvantage through deliberately harmful composition instruction. When writing education licensing authorities investigated his coaching practices, they found evidence Maximilian had damaged writing skills for over 90 students while collecting coaching fees exceeding $700,000. Our 14th story brings us to Las Vegas, where study skills consultant Octavia had been providing academic organization and learning strategy instruction for students throughout Nevada for 4 years. She was recommended by academic advisors and praised by parents for her expertise in study techniques and ability to help students develop organizational skills. Octavia seemed genuinely knowledgeable about study skills and committed to helping students achieve academic success. Octavia's study skills training helped our son develop organizational abilities that dramatically improved his academic performance, shared grateful parent Benedict during a study skills evaluation. Her expertise in academic organization provided essential skills that transformed our child's educational approach. But students started becoming disorganized and losing academic efficiency despite training, with Octavia claiming study complexity and organizational challenges that required additional training fees and intensive strategy services. Our daughter became completely disorganized and lost academic efficiency after training with Octavia. explained exasperated parent Cornelius to academic skills oversight. She says organizational complications require intensive strategy services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Octavia had been deliberately creating academic disorganization while collecting training fees from families who trusted her study skills expertise, then providing strategies that would worsen rather than improve academic organization. She'd been teaching ineffective study techniques, providing confusing organizational strategies, and sabotaging academic efficiency while collecting premium pricing for study skills training designed to create academic disorganization. The scheme particularly harmed students seeking academic improvement who trusted professional study skills education but faced educational disadvantage through deliberately harmful organizational instruction. When academic skills licensing authorities investigated her training practices, they found evidence Octavia had created academic disorganization for over 70 students while collecting training fees exceeding $300,000. Our 15th story brings us to Chicago, where special education advocate Benedict had been representing families and students with disabilities in educational planning and accommodation disputes throughout the metropolitan area for 7 years. He was recommended by disability organizations and praised by families for his advocacy expertise and ability to help students with special needs receive appropriate educational services. Benedict seemed genuinely committed to special education advocacy and helping families navigate educational systems. Benedict's advocacy helped our daughter receive appropriate accommodations that transformed her school experience, shared relieved parent Cornelius during a special education evaluation. His expertise in disability advocacy provided essential representation that secured our child's rights. But students started losing educational accommodations and facing discrimination despite advocacy, with Benedict claiming legal complexity and educational challenges that required additional advocacy fees and intensive legal services. Our son lost accommodations and faces discrimination despite Benedict's expensive advocacy services, explained desperate parent Sterling to Disability Rights Oversight. He says legal complications require intensive representation that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Benedict had been deliberately sabotaging special education advocacy while collecting representation fees from families who trusted his legal expertise, then providing advocacy that would reduce rather than protect student rights. He'd been providing poor legal representation, sabotaging accommodation requests, and undermining special education rights while collecting premium pricing for advocacy services designed to reduce student accommodations. The scheme particularly harmed students with disabilities who trusted professional advocacy expertise but faced educational discrimination through deliberately harmful legal representation. When disability advocacy licensing authorities investigated his representation practices, they found evidence Benedict had sabotaged special education advocacy for over 40 families while collecting advocacy fees exceeding $600,000. Our 16th story takes us to San Antonio, where academic enrichment program director Cornelius had been providing gifted education and advanced learning opportunities for high-achieving students throughout South Texas for 5 years. He was recommended by gifted education specialists and praised by families for his enrichment expertise and ability to help talented students develop advanced academic skills. Cornelius seemed genuinely passionate about gifted education and committed to helping exceptional students achieve intellectual potential. Cornelius's enrichment program helped our daughter develop advanced academic skills, shared proud parent Sterling during a gifted education evaluation. His expertise in enrichment education provided essential challenges that transformed our child's academic potential. But gifted students started losing academic motivation and intellectual confidence despite enrichment programming, with Cornelius claiming giftedness complexity and intellectual challenges that required additional program fees and intensive enrichment services. Our son lost academic motivation and intellectual confidence after participating in Cornelius's enrichment program, explained disappointed parent Fitzgerald to Gifted Education Oversight. He says intellectual complications require intensive enrichment services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Cornelius had been deliberately discouraging gifted students while collecting program fees from families who trusted his enrichment expertise, then providing experiences that would reduce rather than enhance intellectual confidence. He'd been providing inappropriate academic challenges, creating intellectual discouragement, and sabotaging gifted education while collecting premium pricing for enrichment services designed to reduce student motivation. The scheme particularly harmed exceptionally talented students who trusted professional gifted education but faced intellectual discouragement through deliberately harmful enrichment programming. When gifted education licensing authorities investigated his program practices, they found evidence Cornelius had discouraged intellectual development for over 50 gifted students while collecting program fees exceeding $400,000. Our 17th story brings us to Portland, where Educational Assessment Coordinator Sterling had been conducting academic evaluations and learning assessments for students throughout the Pacific Northwest for 6 years. She was licensed by educational psychology organizations and recommended by schools for her assessment expertise and ability to identify student learning needs. Sterling seemed genuinely knowledgeable about educational assessment and committed to helping students and families understand learning profiles. Sterling's assessment identified our son's learning strengths and challenges, shared informed parent Fitzgerald during an educational assessment evaluation. Her expertise in academic evaluation provided essential insights that enhanced our understanding of our child's educational needs. But families started receiving inaccurate assessments and inappropriate educational recommendations, with Sterling claiming evaluation complexity and assessment challenges that required additional testing fees and comprehensive evaluation services. Sterling's assessment was completely wrong and led to inappropriate educational decisions for our daughter, explained frustrated parent Magnolia to Educational Assessment Oversight. She says evaluation complications require comprehensive testing that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Sterling had been deliberately providing false assessments while collecting evaluation fees from families who trusted her testing expertise, then creating inaccurate learning profiles that would harm rather than help educational planning. She'd been providing false test results, creating inappropriate educational recommendations, and sabotaging academic planning while collecting premium pricing for assessment services designed to provide inaccurate educational guidance. The scheme particularly harmed students needing accurate educational assessment who trusted professional evaluation expertise but faced educational harm through deliberately false academic assessments. When educational assessment licensing authorities investigated her evaluation practices, they found evidence Sterling had provided false assessments for over 60 students while collecting evaluation fees exceeding $500,000. Our 18th story brings us to Nashville, where music education instructor Fitzgerald had been providing instrumental and vocal training for students throughout Music City for 8 years. He was certified by music education organizations and recommended by music teachers for his musical expertise and ability to help students develop instrumental skills. Fitzgerald seemed genuinely passionate about music education and committed to helping students achieve musical competency. Fitzgerald's music instruction helped our daughter develop piano skills that enhanced her artistic expression, shared melodious parent Magnolia during a music education evaluation. His expertise in musical instruction provided essential skills that transformed our child's artistic abilities. But students started losing musical skills and performance confidence despite instruction, with Fitzgerald claiming musical complexity and performance challenges that required additional instruction fees and intensive music services. Our son lost musical skills and performance confidence after studying with Fitzgerald, explained disappointed parent Beauregard to Music Education Oversight. He says musical complications require intensive instruction that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Fitzgerald had been deliberately damaging musical development while collecting instruction fees from families who trusted his musical expertise, then providing teaching that would discourage rather than encourage musical growth. He'd been teaching incorrect musical techniques, creating performance anxiety, and sabotaging musical education while collecting premium pricing for music instruction services designed to reduce musical abilities. The scheme particularly harmed students seeking musical development who trusted professional music education but faced artistic discouragement through deliberately harmful musical instruction. When music education licensing authorities investigated his instruction practices, they found evidence Fitzgerald had damaged musical development for over 80 students while collecting instruction fees exceeding $400,000. Our 19th story brings us to Denver, where career counseling specialist Magnolia had been providing academic guidance and career planning for high school and college students throughout the Rocky Mountain region for 4 years. She was certified by career counseling organizations and recommended by guidance counselors for her expertise in career development and ability to help students make informed decisions. Magnolia seemed genuinely committed to career guidance and helping young people achieve professional success. Magnolia's career counseling helped our son choose appropriate academic courses and career paths, shared strategic parent Beauregard during a career guidance evaluation. Her expertise in career development provided essential guidance that enhanced our child's future opportunities. But students started making poor academic and career decisions despite counseling, with Magnolia claiming career complexity and planning challenges that required additional counseling fees and intensive guidance services. Our daughter made terrible academic choices that ruined her career prospects after counseling with Magnolia, explained devastated parent Persephone to career counseling oversight. She says career complications require intensive guidance that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Magnolia had been deliberately providing poor career advice while collecting counseling fees from families who trusted her guidance expertise, then recommending academic and career paths that would harm rather than help student futures. She'd been recommending inappropriate career paths, providing poor academic guidance, and sabotaging professional planning while collecting premium pricing for career counseling services designed to create career mistakes. The scheme particularly harmed students planning their futures who trusted professional career guidance but faced professional disappointment through deliberately harmful career counseling. When career counseling licensing authorities investigated her guidance practices, they found evidence Magnolia had provided harmful career advice to over 50 students while collecting counseling fees exceeding $300,000. Our 20th story brings us to Miami, where Academic Credit Recovery Coordinator Beauregard had been helping students complete graduation requirements and recover failed course credits throughout South Florida for 7 years. He was recommended by school districts and praised by families for his recovery expertise and ability to help struggling students complete educational requirements. Beauregard seemed genuinely committed to student success and helping young people overcome academic setbacks. Beauregard's credit recovery program helped our son complete graduation requirements and receive his diploma, shared relieved parent Persephone during a credit recovery evaluation. His expertise in alternative education provided essential opportunities that transformed our child's academic future. But students started failing credit recovery courses and missing graduation despite program participation, with Beauregard claiming recovery complexity and academic challenges that required additional program fees and intensive instruction services. Our daughter failed credit recovery and missed graduation despite participating in Beauregard's expensive program, explained heartbroken parent Isadora to credit recovery oversight. He says academic complications require intensive instruction that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Beauregard had been deliberately sabotaging credit recovery while collecting program fees from families who trusted his recovery expertise, then providing instruction that would ensure continued academic failure. He'd been providing inadequate credit recovery instruction, creating additional academic obstacles, and sabotaging graduation progress while collecting premium pricing for recovery services designed to prevent credit completion. The scheme particularly harmed students needing graduation support who trusted professional credit recovery but faced continued educational failure through deliberately sabotaged academic recovery. When credit recovery licensing authorities investigated his program practices, they found evidence Beauregard had sabotaged credit recovery for over 70 students while collecting program fees exceeding $600,000. Our 21st story brings us to Seattle, where educational technology specialist Persephone had been providing digital learning support and computer skills instruction for students throughout the Pacific Northwest for 5 years. She was certified by educational technology organizations and recommended by schools for her expertise in digital education and ability to help students develop technology skills. Persephone seemed genuinely knowledgeable about educational technology and committed to helping students achieve digital literacy. Persephone's technology instruction helped our daughter develop computer skills that enhanced her academic performance, shared tech-savvy parent Isadora during an educational technology evaluation. Her expertise in digital education provided essential skills that transformed our child's academic abilities. But students started losing technology skills and digital confidence despite instruction, with Persephone claiming technology complexity and digital challenges that required additional instruction fees and intensive computer services. Our son lost computer skills and digital confidence after studying with Persephone, explained frustrated parent Maximilian to educational technology oversight. She says technology complications require intensive instruction that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Persephone had been deliberately creating technology anxiety while collecting instruction fees from families who trusted her digital expertise, then providing teaching that would discourage rather than encourage technology use. She'd been teaching confusing technology concepts, creating computer anxiety, and sabotaging digital education while collecting premium pricing for technology instruction services designed to reduce digital abilities. The scheme particularly harmed students needing digital literacy who trusted professional technology education but faced computer disadvantage through deliberately harmful digital instruction. When educational technology licensing authorities investigated her instruction practices, they found evidence Persephone had created technology anxiety for over 60 students while collecting instruction fees exceeding $300,000. Our 22nd story brings us to Phoenix, where academic summer program director Isadora had been providing educational enrichment and learning support during school breaks throughout the valley for 6 years. She was recommended by schools and praised by families for her program expertise and ability to help students maintain academic progress during summer months. Isadora seemed genuinely committed to summer education and helping students use vacation time productively. Isadora's summer program helped our son maintain academic progress and develop new interests during school break, shared satisfied parent Maximilian during a summer education evaluation. Her expertise in educational programming provided essential learning opportunities that enhanced our child's academic development. But students started losing academic skills and educational motivation during summer programs, with Isadora claiming program complexity and enrichment challenges that required additional program fees and intensive activities. Our daughter lost academic skills and motivation after attending Isadora's summer program, explained concerned parent Octavia to Summer Education Oversight. She says program complications require intensive activities that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Isadora had been deliberately creating educational regression while collecting program fees from families who trusted her summer expertise, then providing activities that would reduce rather than maintain academic skills. She'd been providing inappropriate educational activities, creating learning regression, and sabotaging academic maintenance, while collecting premium pricing for summer programs designed to reduce student academic abilities. The scheme particularly harmed students needing summer learning support who trusted professional summer education but faced academic regression through deliberately harmful educational programming. When summer education licensing authorities investigated her program practices, they found evidence Isadora had created academic regression for over 90 students while collecting program fees exceeding $500,000. Our 23rd story brings us to Atlanta, where college success coach Maximilian had been providing transition support and academic guidance for first-year university students throughout the Southeast for 4 years. He was recommended by colleges and praised by families for his coaching expertise and ability to help students successfully adjust to university life. Maximilian seemed genuinely committed to college success and helping students navigate higher education challenges. Maximilian's coaching helped our son successfully transition to college and achieve academic success, shared proud parent Octavia during a college success evaluation. His expertise in college transition provided essential support that enhanced our child's university experience. But college students started struggling academically and socially despite coaching, with Maximilian claiming transition complexity and college challenges that required additional coaching fees and intensive support services. Our daughter is struggling academically and socially despite Maximilian's expensive coaching, explained worried parent Benedict to College Success Oversight. He says transition complications require intensive support that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Maximilian had been deliberately creating college adjustment problems while collecting coaching fees from families who trusted his transition expertise, then providing guidance that would worsen rather than improve university experience. He'd been providing poor college advice, creating social adjustment problems, and sabotaging academic success while collecting premium pricing for college coaching services designed to create university difficulties. The scheme particularly harmed college students who trusted professional transition support but faced university failure through deliberately harmful college coaching. When college success licensing authorities investigated his coaching practices, they found evidence Maximilian had sabotaged college transitions for over 40 students while collecting coaching fees exceeding $400,000. Our 24th story brings us to San Diego, where scholarship search consultant Octavia had been helping students find and apply for educational funding opportunities throughout Southern California for 8 years. She was recommended by financial aid offices and praised by families for her scholarship expertise and ability to help students secure funding that reduced college costs. Octavia seemed genuinely knowledgeable about educational funding and committed to helping students access college scholarships. Octavia's scholarship search helped our daughter secure significant funding that made college affordable, shared grateful parent Benedict during a scholarship consultation evaluation. Her expertise in educational funding provided essential guidance that enhanced our family's ability to afford higher education. But students started receiving scholarship rejections and missing funding opportunities despite consulting, with Octavia claiming scholarship competition and funding scarcity that required additional consulting fees and intensive search services. Our son was rejected for all scholarships despite Octavia's expensive consulting services, explained disappointed parent Cornelius to scholarship oversight authorities. She says funding competition requires intensive search services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Octavia had been deliberately sabotaging scholarship applications while collecting consulting fees from families who trusted her funding expertise, then providing application guidance that would ensure rejections. She'd been recommending inappropriate scholarships, providing poor application guidance, and sabotaging funding opportunities while collecting premium pricing for scholarship consulting services designed to ensure application failures. The scheme particularly harmed students needing educational funding who trusted professional scholarship expertise but faced college affordability problems through deliberately sabotaged scholarship applications. When scholarship consulting licensing authorities investigated her search practices, they found evidence Octavia had sabotaged scholarship applications for over 60 students while collecting consulting fees exceeding $500,000. Our 25th story brings us to Portland, where Educational Advocacy Organization Director Sterling had been representing students and families in educational disputes and special needs advocacy throughout the Pacific Northwest for 9 years. She was licensed by advocacy organizations and recommended by disability rights groups for her expertise in educational law and ability to help families secure appropriate educational services. Sterling seemed genuinely committed to educational advocacy and helping families navigate educational systems to protect student interests. Sterling's advocacy helped our family secure appropriate educational services and protect our child's rights, shared empowered parent Fitzgerald during an educational advocacy evaluation. Her expertise in educational law provided essential representation that enhanced our ability to secure appropriate services. But families started losing educational disputes and student rights despite advocacy, with Sterling claiming legal complexity and educational challenges that required additional advocacy fees and intensive legal services. We lost our educational dispute and our child's rights were violated despite Sterling's expensive advocacy, explained defeated parent Magnolia to advocacy oversight authorities. She says legal complications require intensive representation that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Sterling had been deliberately sabotaging educational advocacy while collecting representation fees from families who trusted her legal expertise, then providing advocacy that would harm rather than protect student interests. She'd been providing poor legal representation, sabotaging student rights protection, and undermining educational advocacy while collecting premium pricing for advocacy services designed to reduce student protection. The scheme particularly harmed students needing rights protection who trusted professional advocacy expertise but faced educational discrimination through deliberately harmful legal representation. When educational advocacy licensing authorities investigated her representation practices, they found evidence Sterling had sabotaged educational advocacy for over 30 families while collecting advocacy fees exceeding $700,000. Our 26th story brings us to Chicago, where academic intervention specialist Fitzgerald had been providing remedial instruction and learning support for struggling students throughout the metropolitan area for 7 years. He was certified by intervention organizations and recommended by schools for his expertise in academic remediation and ability to help students overcome learning difficulties. Fitzgerald seemed genuinely committed to academic intervention and helping struggling students achieve educational success. Fitzgerald's intervention helped our son overcome academic struggles and achieve grade-level performance, shared hopeful parent Magnolia during an academic intervention evaluation. His expertise in remedial education provided essential support that transformed our child's academic difficulties into educational success. But struggling students started experiencing worsening academic problems despite intervention, with Fitzgerald claiming learning complexity and academic challenges that required additional intervention fees and intensive remediation services. Our daughter's academic problems became worse after months of intervention with Fitzgerald, explained desperate parent Beauregard to academic intervention oversight. He says learning complications require intensive remediation that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Fitzgerald had been deliberately worsening academic problems while collecting intervention fees from families who trusted his remediation expertise, then providing instruction that would increase rather than reduce learning difficulties. He'd been using intervention techniques that would worsen learning problems, providing instruction that would increase academic difficulties, and sabotaging educational remediation while collecting premium pricing for intervention services designed to worsen student academic outcomes. The scheme particularly harmed struggling students who trusted professional intervention expertise but faced continued academic failure through deliberately harmful remediation. When academic intervention licensing authorities investigated his remediation practices, they found evidence Fitzgerald had worsened academic problems for over 80 students while collecting intervention fees exceeding $600,000. Our 27th story brings us to Houston, where educational consultant Magnolia had been providing academic planning and school selection guidance for families throughout Southeast Texas for 5 years. She was recommended by education professionals and praised by parents for her consulting expertise and ability to help families make informed decisions about educational options. Magnolia seemed genuinely knowledgeable about educational systems and committed to helping families navigate school choices. Magnolia's consulting helped us choose the perfect school and academic plan that enhanced our child's educational experience, shared satisfied parent Beauregard during an educational consulting evaluation. Her expertise in school selection provided essential guidance that enhanced our family's educational decisions. But families started making poor educational decisions and school choices despite consulting, with Magnolia claiming educational complexity and planning challenges that required additional consulting fees and intensive guidance services. We made terrible school choices that harmed our child's education after consulting with Magnolia, explained regretful parent Persephone to educational consulting oversight. She says planning complications require intensive guidance that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Magnolia had been deliberately providing poor educational advice while collecting consulting fees from families who trusted her planning expertise, then recommending schools and academic plans that would harm rather than help student development. She'd been recommending inappropriate schools, providing poor academic planning guidance, and sabotaging educational decisions while collecting premium pricing for consulting services designed to create educational mistakes. The scheme particularly harmed students and families who trusted professional educational expertise but faced academic disappointment through deliberately harmful educational consulting. When educational consulting licensing authorities investigated her guidance practices, they found evidence Magnolia had provided harmful educational advice to over 50 families while collecting consulting fees exceeding $400,000. Our 28th story brings us to Denver, where educational materials supplier Beauregard had been providing textbooks and learning resources for homeschool families and private tutors throughout the Rocky Mountain region for 6 years. He was recommended by educational suppliers and praised by families for his materials expertise and ability to provide quality educational resources. Beauregard seemed genuinely committed to educational resources and helping families access quality learning materials. Beauregard provided excellent educational materials that enhanced our homeschool experience, shared educational parent Persephone during a materials supplier evaluation. His expertise and curriculum resources provided essential support that enhanced our family's educational experience. But families started receiving poor quality or inappropriate educational materials despite the scheme particularly harmed educating families who trusted professional supply expertise but faced learning disadvantage through deliberately inferior educational materials. When educational supply licensing authorities investigated his resource practices, they found evidence Beauregard had provided inferior educational materials to over 100 families while collecting supply fees exceeding $300,000. Our 29th story brings us to Tampa, where educational psychology clinic director Persephone had been providing learning assessments and behavioral interventions for students throughout Central Florida for 8 years. She was licensed by psychology organizations and recommended by schools for her expertise in educational psychology and ability to help students with learning and behavioral challenges. Persephone seemed genuinely committed to educational psychology and helping children overcome learning obstacles. Persephone's assessment and intervention helped our son overcome behavioral challenges and achieve academic success, shared relieved parent Isadora during an educational psychology evaluation. Her expertise in learning psychology provided essential support that transformed our child's educational experience. But students started experiencing worsening behavioral and learning problems despite psychological services, with Persephone claiming psychological complexity and intervention challenges that required additional therapy fees and intensive psychological services. Our daughter's behavioral and learning problems became much worse after working with Persephone, explained alarmed parent Maximilian to educational psychology oversight. She says psychological complications require intensive intervention that costs additional money. Investigation revealed Persephone had been deliberately worsening psychological problems while collecting therapy fees from families who trusted her psychology expertise, then providing interventions that would increase rather than reduce behavioral and learning difficulties. She'd been using therapeutic techniques that would worsen behavioral problems, providing interventions that would increase learning difficulties, and sabotaging psychological support, while collecting premium pricing for psychology services designed to worsen student outcomes. The scheme particularly harmed students with psychological needs who trusted professional psychology expertise but faced continued behavioral struggle through deliberately harmful psychological intervention. When educational psychology licensing authorities investigated her intervention practices, they found evidence Persephone had worsened psychological problems for over 40 students while collecting therapy fees exceeding $800,000. The 30th story brings us to Las Vegas, where online education platform coordinator Isadora had been providing virtual learning support and remote instruction services for students throughout Nevada for 4 years. She was certified by online education organizations and recommended by families for her expertise in virtual learning and ability to help students succeed in remote educational environments. Isadora seemed genuinely knowledgeable about online education and committed to helping students achieve academic success through virtual learning platforms. Isadora's online education support helped our children succeed in virtual learning and maintain academic progress, shared digital parent Maximilian during an online education evaluation. Her expertise in virtual learning provided essential support that enhanced our family's online educational experience. But students started experiencing technical problems and learning difficulties in online education despite platform support, with Isadora claiming virtual complexity and digital challenges that required additional platform fees and intensive online services. Our children are struggling with technical problems and learning difficulties despite Isadora's online education support, explained frustrated parent Octavia to virtual education oversight. She says digital complications require intensive online services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Isadora had been deliberately creating online learning problems while collecting platform fees from families who trusted her virtual expertise, then providing digital services that would worsen rather than improve online education. She'd been creating technical difficulties, providing confusing online instruction, and sabotaging virtual learning while collecting premium pricing for online education services designed to create digital learning problems. The scheme particularly harmed students needing online education who trusted professional virtual expertise but faced digital learning disadvantage through deliberately created online education problems. When online education licensing authorities investigated her platform practices, they found evidence Isadora had created virtual learning problems for over 70 students while collecting platform fees exceeding $400,000. Our 31st story brings us to San Francisco, where educational grant writing specialist Maximilian had been helping schools and educational organizations secure funding through grant applications throughout the Bay Area for 7 years. He was recommended by nonprofit organizations and praised by educators for his grant writing expertise and ability to help educational institutions secure funding. Maximilian seemed genuinely committed to educational funding and helping schools access resources through professional grant writing. Maximilian's grant writing helped our school secure significant funding that enhanced our educational programs, shared successful educator Octavia during a grant writing evaluation. His expertise in funding applications provided essential support that enhanced our institution's ability to secure resources. But educational organizations started receiving grant rejections and losing funding opportunities despite grant writing services, with Maximilian claiming funding competition and grant complexity that required additional writing fees and intensive application services. Our organization was rejected for all grants despite Maximilian's expensive writing services, explained disappointed Administrator Benedict to grant writing oversight. He says funding competition requires intensive application services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Maximilian had been deliberately sabotaging grant applications while collecting writing fees from organizations who trusted his funding expertise, then providing application guidance that would ensure rejections. He'd been writing poor grant applications, providing incorrect funding information, and sabotaging funding opportunities while collecting premium pricing for grant writing services designed to ensure application failures. The scheme particularly harmed educational organizations needing funding who trusted professional grant expertise but faced program reduction through deliberately sabotaged grant applications. When grant writing licensing authorities investigated his application practices, they found evidence Maximilian had sabotaged grant applications for over 30 organizations while collecting writing fees exceeding $600,000. Our 32nd story brings us to Portland, where educational research consultant Octavia had been providing academic research support and data analysis for educational studies throughout the Pacific Northwest for 5 years. She was certified by research organizations and recommended by universities for her expertise in educational research and ability to help educators conduct studies. Octavia seemed genuinely knowledgeable about educational research and committed to helping advance educational knowledge. Octavia's research support helped our university conduct important educational studies that enhanced academic understanding, shared scholarly educator Benedict during a research consultation evaluation. Her expertise in educational research provided essential support that enhanced our institution's ability to conduct meaningful studies. But educational researchers started receiving flawed data and incorrect analysis despite research consulting, with Octavia claiming research complexity and analysis challenges that required additional consulting fees and intensive research services. Our educational research was compromised by flawed data and incorrect analysis despite Octavia's consulting, explained concerned researcher Cornelius to research oversight authorities. She says research complications require intensive analysis services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Octavia had been deliberately providing false research data while collecting consulting fees from researchers who trusted her analysis expertise, then creating flawed studies and incorrect conclusions. She'd been fabricating research data, providing incorrect statistical analysis, and sabotaging educational studies while collecting premium pricing for research consulting services designed to create research problems. The scheme particularly harmed educational researchers who trusted professional research expertise but faced academic credibility damage through deliberately false research data. When educational research licensing authorities investigated her consulting practices, they found evidence Octavia had provided false research data for over 20 studies while collecting consulting fees exceeding $500,000. Our 33rd story brings us to Nashville, where educational conference organizer Benedict had been planning professional development events and training seminars for educators throughout the Southeast for 6 years. He was recommended by educational associations and praised by teachers for his event expertise and ability to organize conferences that enhanced professional development. Benedict seemed genuinely committed to educator development and helping teachers advance their skills through quality professional development conferences. Benedict's conference provided excellent professional development that enhanced our teaching skills, shared improved educator Cornelius during an educational conference evaluation. His expertise in event planning provided essential training opportunities that enhanced our educational abilities. But educators started experiencing poor quality conferences and wasted professional development time despite event registration, with Benedict claiming planning complexity and training challenges that required additional conference fees and premium development services. The educational conference was poorly organized and provided no useful professional development despite expensive registration fees, explained disappointed teacher Sterling to conference oversight authorities. Benedict says planning complications require premium development services that cost additional money. Investigation revealed Benedict had been deliberately organizing poor quality conferences while collecting registration fees from educators who trusted his event expertise, then providing inadequate professional development. He'd been booking unqualified speakers, providing poor training materials, and sabotaging professional development while collecting premium pricing for conference services designed to waste educator time. The scheme particularly harmed educators seeking professional growth who trusted professional development expertise but faced wasted training time through deliberately poor conference organization. When educational conference licensing authorities investigated his event practices, they found evidence Benedict had organized poor quality conferences for over 1,000 educators while collecting registration fees exceeding $700,000. Thank you for joining me tonight on Drowsy Tales Daily. And may these stories guide you into peaceful sleep with renewed awareness of the importance of educational accountability and protecting your family's learning investments from those who would exploit your trust during vulnerable academic moments. Sweet dreams, and I'll see you tomorrow night for another collection of fascinating Reddit stories designed to help you drift off to sleep.